Hey y'all, it's Mr. Weimer here. I'm out here on the construction site of a prefabricated steel building. A buddy of mine runs a company and let me come out here, said I could take a video, said there'd be nobody here, so we're gonna do a little walk around, check some things out here. But this is a prefab steel building, which means all these tabs are welded on in a shop, all these pieces are cut out in a shop. This thing pretty much it's prefabricated. It's built beforehand and they come here and put it together like a puzzle. So let's go take a little walk around. Alright, so here's some pieces set aside for us right here. I'd say that welds a flux core. Since they're going to be doing this in a shop, they will probably be knocking these out. So it's a lot quicker to run a flux core bead than it is to sit there and keep changing out your electrodes, especially when you have a couple hundred of these to do a day. Notice too, they're all painted beforehand. Alright, even cool about this is they got their own barcode. It tells you the length, where it goes, the drawing part, width, the length. It's got a serial number on it, so they know where all these pieces go. Kind of like putting together a giant IKEA piece of furniture here. So if you'll notice all these brackets on this piece of beam here, these brackets help support these horizontal pieces here, holds everything together. So that's how they are all connected. Piece of equipment they got here for moving stuff around, probably hanging these pieces of steel. They can use the forks, lift up the section of the building, bolt it all together. It's called a telehandler, or also known as a rough terrain forklift if you want to get pretty broad about it. They got their attachment there, picking pieces of steel up. You can see these connections up here. They are all bolted together. There's no real welding. They weld the brackets on the I-beam and the piece of steel gets bolted together. And notice, if you can, I know it's tough with the light, but notice the color of those bolts up there. They're not just steel zinc bolts, they're nice grade 8 hardened bolts. So we got this concrete form here that was poured. We got rebar sticking out the top. One thing, if you'll notice, all this rebar has a safety cap on it, right? I'm sure you can imagine what would happen if somebody was working up there and fell down on a piece of this rebar. So, big OSHA violation. They get a lot of fines each year for a bundle of rebar sticking out without caps on it, or one of these pieces missing a cap. These guys are all seem to be working off lifts here, so probably not too many people up there walking the iron. I'm sure there are a few guys, but for the most part, I'm sure the connectors are in these baskets here. Check out the little welder they're using. Miller CST 280. I actually heard a lot about these things. They use them in trade schools because they're small and pack a little punch. Looks like this thing's wired. Yep, she's wired right up into the machine here. So we got 220 right up to this machine. Basic stick welder. The thing must be rugged because it's just sitting outside here. And notice the number on it. So if the thing ever went missing, I'm sure they could track it. Alright, so here's one of our footings here. Big old concrete pad, and if you'll notice, they shim this thing up here to get it level, or to get it plumb's the right word for it, perfectly vertical. Alright, there are shims in here. They're going to bolt these things down. And if you'll check it out, being prefab steel, it's not a real I-beam. It's two pieces of flat bar welded together. So that's definitely flux core. If you had to run a weld that long with a stick welder, take you all day. Here's your steel trusses all lined up here. They must have just stacked them, and I'm sure they push them out a whole bunch, which is going to separate the first floor from the second floor. Not positive what they're going to do, but my guess would be that they put out a bunch of decking, steel decking, which you can see way over there. They lay that out on top, and then they pour concrete over top of it, and that's what divides your floors up. There are some of your storage sheds here where they keep all the tools, I'm sure, all the welders, your high quality baño for the day. Imagine sitting in that thing in a nice 90-degree day after you've been sweating, working your butt off on the building all day. Right? Check it out. Got some rebar all lined up there. So all in all, there is your prefabricated steel building. Quick little field trip. Didn't even have to leave your house.